So Married at First Sight, there was drama galore, on screen and off screen. Can you tell us about the night that you were out and you had your drink spiked?
Yeah, so Steve and I had a rough day of filming, and Steve got quite emotional during the day and we had quite a big argument. Anyway, everyone was quite concerned about Steve, but he really needed to go have a beer with the boys, which we weren't allowed to hang out with each other. We weren't allowed to be seen, but Steve still went out to have a drink with the boys. And I said that I wanted to go have a drink. So I didn't know where to go, and there's a bar just very close to where we were staying. So I said that we had like a production babysitter that looked after us. I said, look, I'm going to have one drink and then I'm going to come back. So, because I just need something to relax, because I've just been told I'm a heartless bitch by the producers because I didn't go and comfort my husband when he was screaming at me. And so I went out, I was sitting somewhere to the side. They started taking photos inside the club, so I moved to the bar and I sat next to this guy, and we just started to talk. And like I had a shot of tequila and I had like a cocktail, and that was fine.
That was it.
That was it for there.
Yeah.
And so and I can verify that with my credit card, like with being like tapping on and tapping off. So I was fine with that. So then we were just talking, and all of a sudden they came around and he said, oh, this is a free drink. And the guy picked one up for me, and I picked one up as well. Oh, well, he picked up one for me and then he gave it to me. I don't really know what happened because I was talking to someone over that side, and he was picking up the drinks and put them there. The guy was a little bit sus, but he was okay. Apparently I took a video during the event, but I didn't know that I had. Found that later.
Okay, so you've had the drink, and then what's happened?
I had the drink, and all of a sudden I can see my phone ringing, and it's one of my friends ringing me, and I can see myself trying to answer or do something, but I can't. And then that's all I can remember. And then I don't remember anything after that drink, apart from trying to answer my phone with the swipe. And then all of a sudden, I'm outside, like on a step. The next thing I know, I'm out on a step, and I'm just like, kind of like...
Flaked out?
Like this, I can't move. My arms or legs.
Flaked out?
Yes. I've never had my drink spiked. Never had my drink spiked, so I didn't know that it was spiked. But I knew that I had lost all bodily functions. Anyway, one of the other participants, Natasha, she actually saw me on the step, and she's like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm just like, I don't know. And she's like, what are you doing here? And I said, I don't know. And she's like, I'll call one of the babysitters to come get you. I'm just like, okay. And so they came to collect me because apparently they'd been trying to contact me. I'd been MIA, missing, for about 45 minutes to an hour. My husband on the show was told he wasn't allowed upstairs, or he had to go to someone else's room while they brought me upstairs. I've never been in this kind of state before. So they got me to the elevator. So I actually like I don't know how I got there. Like I kind of like slithered almost. So two of them.
So almost paralysed in a sense.
I was like I couldn't move my arms or legs, and I lost all bodily functions. So I was like everything was going, and which was very humiliating. And I think that's why they said they didn't call my husband. So had Steve known, I'm sure he would have come to help me.
So you got to the elevator?
Got to the elevator, and then they like got me to the production room, like to their hotel room, and they're FaceTiming our producer, executive producer. She's talking to me apparently, I have no idea, but then I'm vomiting, I'm urinating, everything that could happen, happened, but I cannot move my arms and legs. I'm just like, I'm paralysed. I'm just like, I've never drunk that much and I've drunk a lot. Like seriously, I have Macedonian background. I've drunk a lot, that much that I could not lose all bodily functions. And that, like not even to be able to move my arms and legs. So at some stage I end up, I don't know whether I'm in the shower or whatever, but then I get into bed and they say that I'm not allowed to speak to my husband at all. I'm just like, okay, I can't even talk. Like I'm like lying up here like this. I don't know how or what I'm dressed in. And I start speaking to Natasha the next day. She's like, you were really bad, Mishel. She goes, I don't know what you had. And I said, I don't know what I had because I couldn't move. And so then when I told Steve, he said, I think you were probably drugged. I said, no. And I said, last thing I remember, I sat down next to this guy, but there's no way I got my drink spiked. And because I didn't even know really that would be a thing. I'm lost in Sydney, don't even know my way around. And here I am like on some freaking step, like in an alley.
So was some medical tests ordered to find it conclusively what was going on here, or?
Yeah, so I actually pushed for a urine sample. So I wanted to go back to a doctor that I'd seen in the city to have a urine test or a blood test.
Right, so you wanted to get to the bottom of this.
I did. I wanted to get to the bottom of it because not only had I lost like all like dignity, like by, you know, like I had like vomited weed. I've lost all bodily functions. I lost dignity, but I also like thought, you know, I got in trouble as well for going out alone and without my husband, even though he was out by himself. And I was banned from alcohol for like a week or whatever, because like after that, but I had got in big trouble for going out alone. And I wanted to come to the end. Like I wanted it to come to like some sort of conclusion. Because I was persistent, I kept emailing, texting. I wanted to get these tests, a urine test. I thought it might be a blood test, but they said urine. So anyway, that needed to be done straight away. And they said, no, don't go to the doctor who's just like 100 metres down the road. We'll take you to this place that's 15 minutes drive. So I went to their doctor and he did a urine test and he said, look, you're probably just wigged out. Like, you know, there's not really too much. You get to a stage where you just wig out. And I'm just like, I don't know what a wig out is. He goes, oh, you know, you could have been on this and that and just taken something. I said, look, I've asked you for Valium. Well, I've asked this other doctor for Valium. She wouldn't give it to me because she's not my regular doctor. Now you're going to give me Valium for the first time. And I'm just like, how did I wig out on just like 3 drinks, potentially 3 drinks? I cannot get the results, even though once the test results came back, doctor rang me and said, look, you did test positive for opiates. And I said, well, opiates? Like I've worked in pharmacy. I've also done a little bit of anatomy physiology for a few years. Opiates is like your morphines, your codeines and stuff like that. Well, I'm actually allergic to morphine. So why would I take morphine or morphine derivative if I'm allergic to it? So that's on my medical records. But then I've got opiates in my urine. So it kind of doesn't make sense. Why do I have opiates? And so I said, look, can you test that further? Because I'm actually allergic to morphine. He goes, look, it's probably a wig out. There's no point in doing anything. And he goes, what are you going to do with the information? I said, well, firstly, I want my doctor to get it. My actual GP in Brisbane.
So you want the written
test
results sent to your doctor in Brisbane?
Yes. So
a reasonable enough request.
Yeah, it's like, you know, if it was on my health, I could get them. Anyway, and he said, yep, that's fine, no problem. So a couple of days later, I ring my doctor and said, did you get the results? I've asked them to get sent through to you. And she said, no, I haven't. So then I email and say, look, I want these results sent through. I try calling the doctor's surgery and say, I want these results. I actually want a copy of them and I need them because, like, what if, like, you know, it was like a real reaction and I could have died. So the doctor that I spoke to told them everything. They knew that I wanted Valium. They knew that I had an allergy to morphine because I told him everything. And the thing is, I'm still trying. I've got my doctor still on it. She can't get anywhere with them. They still don't want to produce those results. Didn't want my husband to go to the bar and confront them for CCTV, because my husband, Steve, really wanted to go to the bar and ask for the CCTV. He was stopped blankly. You are not to go ask for that. Couldn't get my test results. So basically I had a wig out, and I had to not drink alcohol at the next dinner party.
And you were told essentially just leave it.
Leave it, yes. There's nothing we can do, because there's no way we can prove anything. When I found this video 2 weeks later on my phone, I said...
A video of what?
A video of me grabbing the drink and like recording a pineapple being lit up. And you can see everyone at the bar and people speaking to me. And then I said, look, now I know who it is, because I've actually video recorded this. I don't know how I recorded it, because I don't remember it, but can I please have the results? And
so now you've got some real solid evidence.
I've got evidence of the person sitting next to me. I've got evidence of getting a drink on video that I didn't purchase, but we had to stop that investigation. I actually could have ended up like murdered. If they didn't bury this, then like, where was their duty of care? I've gone out on my own. I don't even know my way around Sydney Centre. And what if I did get raped? What if I was? And so they're convincing me, look, you were only gone for 45 minutes total. So first it was an hour and a half. Then it got to an hour. Then it got to 45 minutes. Soon enough, it was like 30 minutes I was missing. And I don't actually really know how long I was missing, because the timeline seems like it went from an hour and a half and it kept getting shorter and shorter. So obviously nothing happened to me. Steve and I, my husband on maths, we worked it out, and we think it was closer to an hour and a half, the original time that they told me I was missing. So we worked it out that it was about an hour and a half. By the end, they had convinced us that it was more like 30 minutes to 45 that I'm missing in information. They stopped us pursuing it, both myself and Steve. You know, regardless of our relationship, Steve was there protecting me as my husband, and you know, he wanted to protect me. Well, the way that they put it to us is basically, production puts it to us, is that we're using up energy and resources on something that possibly won't get resolved anyway. So why are we wasting people's time? The thing is, I think that it's my own right as a human to find out what happened in that space of time. And if I've been drugged, which the doctor told me I actually had opiates or amphetamines or whatever in my urine, then I need to know what they were.
You certainly hadn't consumed them yourself. That's what you're telling me.
I wouldn't have consumed the drugs myself. I would definitely take a Valium, but I hadn't had access to Valium at the time, and that Valium prescription was written afterwards. But any other drugs, no, I didn't have access to them, and I wouldn't take them normally either. So I would take a Panadol or a Nurofen, but not like an amphetamine or a opiate or something like that. I don't need to take that, and I know that I'm allergic to it. I was basically convicted of a crime that I went out by myself as a woman, and I lost control of how much alcohol I had drunk. It wasn't good, because I just think, you know what, the other weekend I drank quite a few cocktails, and guess what, I didn't wig out then. They would just say that I had consumed way too much alcohol, and that I'm sitting in the gutter consuming too much alcohol. I'm a mum of teenage children, and you know, there's some level of decorum or something that I want to show my own children, that you don't drink until you pass out on the street. And I'm also I'm a teacher. I'm a role model to lots of kids, and young adults. So how am I meant to say that's okay, go out and drink, and then wind up on the street, drunk and passed out? what sort of role model am I? I think that it probably is a very common thing that happens, and maybe it's using resources that, I don't know. I'm just going by what production time. The only reason I insisted on the urine test is because I knew that I know myself, I know my body. I'm not 20 years old, I'm not 30 years old. I was 48 at the time. I actually know how much I can consume and not be paralytic or quadriplegic at the time. There's lots of incidents, just even with myself and Steve, where what we were allowed to do and what we could do was restricted by production or the executive producers, and we were told specifically, you are not to pursue this any longer, you are not to ask any more questions, you are not allowed to communicate with these people. Just like, okay, that doesn't really sit that well with me, because I actually know my rights as a human, just as a human. And I think that I've been violated by ingesting something that I did not want to take, and it's been forced on me by somebody else. And 2, I don't know what happened to me for 45 minutes. So I kind of want to know where I was. I've been denied that ability or that knowledge, or the ability to go find out that knowledge. My husband's been also, Steve's also been stopped from trying to find out. The show must go on, and we're like happy families, but I got in trouble for it. I wasn't allowed to go out by myself again. So, yeah.
Well, thanks for discussing that. Interesting. Amazing.
Incredible.